must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
We don't back whites. We don't care about their feelings. They've made us suffer for a very long time.
Yes.
It's our turn now. They must be happy. We're not beating them up. They must be happy. We're not calling for genocide.
Remember how we used to joke about how hopeless Africa would be if we were ever to go to war with world powers like the United States? Well, don't laugh yet, because this joke might just be becoming a reality. South Africa and the US are currently at loggerheads. And what do you think is the cause of all of this? Well, only the most valuable asset ever known to man: land. But how did this beef even start? How did we get here? To answer those questions, let's take a trip back to the early 1900s. Back then, South Africa was under colonial rule, and things were far from fair. In 1913, the government passed the Natives Land Act. This law was a real doozy, if you ask me. It said that black South Africans could only own land in specific areas, which made up just 7.5% of the entire country. Talk about a raw deal. This act forced many black families out of their ancestral lands, pushing them into overcrowded reserves or making them laborers on white-owned farms. Fast forward to the apartheid era starting in 1948. Things didn't get any better. The government doubled down on these unfair policies, ensuring that land ownership remained heavily skewed in favor of the white minority. Now let's jump back to the present day. Today, white South Africans make up about 7% of the population. But here's the kicker: they still own a whopping 72% of the nation's private farmland. That's like having a tiny slice of cake but claiming almost the whole dessert table. This imbalance is a lingering shadow from those old laws and policies. It's a big reason why land reform remains such a hot topic in South Africa. People are striving to correct these historical wrongs and ensure a fairer distribution of land for everyone. Alright, let's break this down in a way that doesn't feel like you're stuck in an old, boring history class. So, South Africa passed a new law in 2024 called the Expropriation Act, and it's causing quite the stir. The whole idea behind it is to fix some really old, really deep problems. Remember how land was unfairly taken from the black South Africans back then? Well, that's still a huge issue, and this law is supposed to help balance the scales. Basically now, the government has the power to take land without paying for it. But before you picture the officials of the government running around snatching up farms like they are playing Monopoly, there are rules. They are only supposed to take land that's unused, abandoned, or not being put to good public use. The goal? To give people who've historically been left out of land ownership a fair shot. But of course, not everyone is happy about this. Some landowners are sweating bullets, thinking their property could be next, while others argue this is long overdue. Either way, it's one of the biggest shakeups in South Africa's land laws in modern history, and you can bet the debate isn't going away anytime soon. Now, whenever you have a law as big and controversial as the Expropriation Act, people are bound to have very loud opinions about it, and deservedly so. And oh boy, South Africans are not holding back. Some agree and say it's about time and fully support the law, but on the other hand, others aren't too happy about this, and they believe it will cause a slippery slope that will violate property rights in no time. Some opponents have even gone to court to challenge this law, saying it's unconstitutional. They believe that there are better ways to fix land inequality without seizing property without compensation. So I hope you're enjoying the video you're just watching. Let me take the opportunity to invite you to our maiden real estate exchange in the UK. If you're looking for real estate opportunities in the UK and back in Nigeria, then this event is for you. Kindly find the details in the description and register. We want to see you there with a team of developers, solicitors, lawyers, agents that want to teach you how you can take advantage of the real estate industry in Nigeria and also in the UK. Let's go back. So what we have here is a classic political showdown where South Africans are torn. Now enter the United States, the one who likes to play big brother to Africa, the police of the whole universe. When the Expropriation Act became law, Trump was not a fan. In fact, he was so against it that he decided to hit South Africa where it hurts, the wallet. The US have been giving South Africa around $440 million a year, mostly for HIV and AIDS programs, through initiatives like PEPFAR, which has saved millions of lives, by the way. But Trump said, nope, not anymore. He claimed that if South Africa was going to start taking land without compensation, then the US shouldn't be giving them any money. So how did Malema respond to this?
The EFF has noted the threat by the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, who has issued a threat to cut foreign aid to South Africa and impose sanctions on South Africa for adopting legislation that permits the expropriation of land without compensation and implementing policies that addresses historical race-based inequalities in our country. The statement by Donald Trump is offensive and undermines our sovereignty.
Other critics slammed the move, pointing out that cutting HIV and AIDS funding wasn't punishing the government, but punishing sick people. Some even accused Trump of using humanitarian aid as a political weapon. But Trump stuck to his guns, saying that South Africa needed to respect property rights if they wanted US support. Then came the wildest part. Trump offered refugee status to white South Africans, especially the Afrikaner farmers. Why? He claimed that they were facing discrimination, land seizures, and even violence under the new law. Essentially, he was saying, if your government is coming for your land, then America has got your back.
An executive order he signed on Friday provided for resettlement in the U.S. of, quote, Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination as refugees.
Now, this didn't go well, of course, with the South African government. Officials flat out rejected Trump's claims, saying that this was not a racial issue, but rather an attempt to fix historical injustices. They called his refugee offer misinformed and accused him of stirring up unnecessary panic.
And we will not be bullied.
At the same time, some white South Africans actually welcomed Trump's move. Groups advocating for Afrikaner farmers praised him, claiming that they were unfairly targeted and needed international protection. Several of them are even making moves to apply for the said refugee status in the US. So in summary, Trump cut $440 million in US aid to South Africa as a protest. He offered refugee status to white South Africans, saying that they were being persecuted. The South African government clapped back hard, saying that this was an internal issue, not about race. And the world just watching as the chaos unfolded. And now, Elon Musk enters the chat. Because of course, he did. Musk publicly blasted the law, calling it racist, and saying that it was discriminating against the white minority, especially Afrikaner farmers. He basically painted the situation as a government-backed land grab, targeting white landowners, and he wasn't subtle about it either. Then he took it a step further. Musk went on X, formerly Twitter, and shared an old video, a 2-year-old video to be exact, of Julius Malema, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, chanting, "Kill the farmer."
farmers, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa.
Boom. The internet exploded. Elon Musk's followers went wild, with many jumping in to call the South African government corrupt and accusing Malema of inciting violence. Others clapped back, saying Musk was cherry-picking a controversial clip to stir up outrage and spread a false narrative about land reform. South African officials, they were not amused in the slightest, with some accusing Musk of misrepresenting the situation and fueling unnecessary fear. Elon Musk's comment threw gasoline on an already burning fire, something he's seeming to do in the UK as well. His massive platform meant that suddenly millions of people, many of whom probably didn't know much about South Africa's land issues, were now hyper-focused on the idea that white farmers were being targeted. And with Trump already weighing in, Musk's involvement only made things messier. But one might be forced to ask, which came first, the egg or the chicken, Trump or Elon? But that's a story for another day. But now what started as a domestic South African issue has turned into an international Twitter brawl with people from all over the world taking sides. Now, if there's one person that lives for controversy, it's Julius Malema. And when Trump and Musk started running their mouth about South Africa's land reform, you better believe Malema had to say something about it. Julius Malema, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, has never been shy about his views on land reform. In fact, if there were a poster child for the land expropriation without compensation movement, it would be him. His argument is simple. Black South Africans were robbed of their land during colonialism and apartheid. Most of that land is still in white hands today. So why should the government have to pay to get it back? To Malema, the Expropriation Act isn't just necessary, it's long overdue. He believes it's the only way to fix South Africa's massive economic inequality and give black South Africans the land they should have had all along. When Trump cut US aid and started talking about protecting white South Africans, Malema didn't hold back as well. He straight up told Trump to stay in his lane and stop acting like a colonial overlord trying to control African affairs. To Malema, Trump's comments weren't about human rights or land justice. They were about protecting white privilege. And he made it clear that South Africa would not be bullied by the US or anyone else. Then there was Musk. After the billionaire tweeted that land reform was racist and posted that old video of Malema chanting, "Kill the farmer," the EFF leader fired back hard. He basically laughed Musk off, calling him an enemy of South Africa and accusing him of spreading misinformation. Malema argued that Musk was twisting the truth to make it seem like white South Africans were under attack, when really, this was about fixing the sins of apartheid. At the end of the day, Malema isn't losing sleep over Trump or Musk. If anything, their criticism just made him double down. He's been pushing for land expropriation for years, and he's not about to let a couple billionaires stop him now. But South Africa is not the only African country that US aid is being held out from. Nigeria is also in this discussion, and the story is even more dramatic than that of South Africa. In our next video, we will delve into this and reveal some of the hidden things between Nigeria and the United States. Subscribe if you haven't, so when the next video drops, you'll be notified. Thank you so very much for watching. This is the Ownahome TV show. Owning a home, owning a property should not make you lose sleep. So we are committed to giving you the very best property recommendations and insider real estate gist. Land, property, the age-old assets that people would go to war and die for. If you're interested in getting a slice of Lagos, one of Africa's most popular and most prosperous cities, contact me to get you started on your journey. Drop your comments below, like, share, subscribe. See you at the very next video. Bye-bye.